Nigeria's advertising industry is reported to be suffering a loss of about 120 billion naira annually to the production of adverts and marketing communication materials outside the country, leading to job losses locally. This is an area looking like it has huge potential for job and wealth creation, especially in the creative industry. The regulatory body for the advertising and marketing communication has frowned at the rate of capital flight and other practices hindering exploration in the industry. But what action has it taken to correct the ills and instill measures that will propel maximum gains? On the spot this week, we'll hear from the agency concerned. I am Joseph Utsen. Welcome to the program. Now, my guest is a professional in the field of advertising. He holds a bachelor's degree in economics and 3 master's degrees, one in marketing, second in business administration, and the third in legal studies. He also obtained a PhD in marketing with a specialization in marketing communications. He is a registered advertising practitioner, a chartered accountant, a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ARCON, and fellow Nigeria Institute of Marketing. With over 25 years in the advertising industry, my guest has served the industry in different capacities, including being the 4th substantive registrar and chief executive of Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria, ARCON. On the spot is the pioneer director general, Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, ARCON, Dr. Olalekan Fadolapo. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
First, let me say congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You are one of the few persons that got reappointed by President Bola Tinubu to head the agencies you're in heading. This is a government that it's like nobody can tell who will remain and who will go. Almost every day we hear that one person is changed, one person is replaced. How did you get your own favor?
Well, thank you very much. Let me start by saying God is good, and God has been good to me. I'm blessed, I'm not lucky. I'm not lucky, I'm blessed, because I can say God has been good to me on the spiritual part. On the administrative part, with due respect to my colleagues, my DG colleagues, we had different sessions with our Honorable Minister, and I can only speak for my own agency. Upon the resumption of the Honorable Minister, the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Idris Mohammed, he requested that we need to make a presentation to him, and it was really more like a working session, because it was specific on how will you grow your sector, how will your sector impact the economy, and what are the add-ons you are bringing to the table. So we had our own session with him. First of all, we had to present the advertising industry reform in full details, which he magnanimously said, look, pursue this and make sure you implement it. We also presented the local content policy. Now, as an economy, you know, advertising is one of the key enabler of the national economy. So we had to look at that, just opposing the Nigerian advertising industry with other markets across Africa and globally, and looking at it from those angles, where we are and where we are headed. So we need to cover with specific steps we presented to him how we're going to take this industry to the next level. That was all we did from our own part. And I still want to go back to say we thank God that Vivo spoke for me, and we were returned. And after that, the minister said please ensure that everything you have said in growing, because one of the things that is new to me is when you see a minister setting KPI for you, key performance index, and looking at your key result areas. So it means that you need to have a review from time to time. So that's what the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation has done to us, and that is what we are. So we are held accountable for deliverables on our own mandate.
Okay, I will say this government started on a very rough note. You know what's happening out there. The economy has not been that smooth. A lot of Nigerians are going through difficulties. The government is talking about creating jobs, creating opportunities for a lot of young persons out there. Some of the key policies, it says long-term, but Nigerians have to bear the pain now. Now, you have communications with the minister. What is that aspect that you think, that what sense did you get as they want to achieve with your council?
One, let me say this. The government is like a body that is divided into different parts. Within our own ministry, we have the Advertising Regulatory Council, we have the National Broadcasting Commission, we have the Press Council, we have the National Orientation. Now, I was just telling you now that our minister has set a KPI for us, Key Performance Index, and he has asked us to keep our eyes on our key result areas. Now, if as Ministry of Information and National Orientation, we are able to deliver on our own expectation, the Digital Economy Ministry, the Creative Economy Ministry is also able to, the tourism. So you will discover at the end of the day that everything put into a pool will result in a massive growth for the economy. That's one. The second part is look at our own industry. Sometimes you look at issues and you ask yourself, where are we placed? Now, we had a presentation to the Honorable Minister and said, look, from our own industry, our industry is bleeding. The Nigerian advertising industry is bleeding. And now, most of the things are self-inflicted pains. Self-inflicted pains to the extent that if we sit down and do this business ethically, we will grow our own sector. Now, you talk about demand and the value of dollar, as in the price of dollar. Now, dollar is a function of demand and supply. Beyond every other, like an economist will tell you, all things being equal. Now, if you don't grow your own economy and you are foreign dependent, then your Naira will continue to lose value. What do you need to do? You need to look at inclusive growth. So if each sector is looking at inclusive growth and how we are going to develop our own sector, then you will discover that this will have a multiplier effect. You know, when you talk of microeconomy, macroeconomy, micro is a combination of so many things that will develop and galvanize into a macroeconomy. Now, take our sector, take banking, take this, take that. So if everything aggregates, then you have a single growth that will be called now macroeconomic growth. What am I driving at?
You're talking about general
economy. No, yeah. So what am I
driving? Talk about your.
I'm coming to our own industry as it affects.
We want to know what is making it bleed.
Now, so that's why I'm saying that. Look, our own industry now, as an economic enabler, is bleeding. Now, we have a role to play in national growth and development.
Yes.
And that is what all our efforts are being directed at. For example, I've said this again and again and again. One of the things that one of our mandates is to regulate advertising, advertisement, and marketing communication in its entirety. One, in all ramifications. Two, if you look at the long title, to promote local content. Now, let me put those two side by side. Now, there's globalization. And globalization means you should open your market to everything and everything. Now, there's localization. Localization simply means that in the global market, protect your local market so that you are not overrun. make sure that in this whole globalization, your local market takes benefit. So if you don't understand the principle and how to put this side by side, you will be overrun in the global space, because every multinational or corporation is looking at maximizing profit. Now, you as a government are looking at different things. Like our honorable minister charges. One, we want to grow the economy. Two, this government, from day one, we want to create employment. Three, we want to generate revenue. And we want stability. Now, so our own sector, we have some peculiarities. Talk about the local content policy. If you look at several years ago, Nigerian advertising space was taken over by foreigners. Foreign model, foreign artists, and all those things. Now, we now came and said, look, this has taken off food from the place of Nigerians. And this has lost to gross unemployment. The production sector has gone down. The voiceover artists has gone down. The modeling sector has gone down. The agencies, in fact, it was...
What was the factor responsible for this?
Okay, there was a time in Nigeria, this country, that most multinational have foreigners or expatriates as their managing director. Then the second level led to most of them having marketing directors as expatriates. Now, these marketing directors requested from most of the advertising agencies working on their accounts that they should bring in creative director from other countries. So there was a time in this country that practically all the advertising agencies have foreigners or expatriates as their creative director. Now, when those creative directors came, what they did, first of all, to rubbish production in Nigeria. And most of them, they have their allegiance to their country. So they took the production aspects, which is huge, out of the industry and took it to their different countries. So if you want to do production, they will either tell you location, they will either tell you post-production or anything. So they took all these things. So we saw that at that point, even the Nigerians that are creative directors, they were already losing their job. And there's nothing so special. So some of these out of...
But if they were that good enough, I would argue that if they were that good enough, everybody want good content, they would have absorbed them or taken them to produce.
It is not like they are not good. It is because...
I'm not saying it's not good enough. Yeah, I'm just with the perspective that perhaps that could have been the factor.
Now, look at the shift now. When we insisted that we want to start promoting local content. There's no... I can start listing people here in this industry that has won global award for production, for creativity, but they will still leave them and still decide to go and do this thing outside. Now, so what do we need to do? We want to grow our economy. We want to grow the naira. We want to strengthen the naira. Why not patronize things that are done in Nigeria? For example, again, you have over 200 million Nigerians. You know. Now, that means that there's no model you are looking for, you can't find in us. There's no voice you are looking for, you can't find in Nigeria. But yet, you still go and import model from another country. There is market, there's marketing communication. So the market is
as
here.
As well as good sites all over the country.
So the market is here. Don't forget, Nigeria is the biggest economy in Africa. Don't forget, Nigeria is the fastest growing economy in Africa. Don't forget, Nigeria has the highest population in Africa. Don't forget, Nigeria has the highest GDP in Africa. So those things are supposed to be a plus to us. But you don't see other small countries now having their own advertising industry spend and size bigger than our own. Now, when we did a detailed analysis of this, most of the things happen around leakage. Leakage to the extent that they are some of the things that are supposed to grow the industry that are taken out. You bring foreign model, you bring foreign voiceover artists. Then, for example, that I've said before again and again, it takes a village to produce a commercial. If you want to do one commercial, you need a voiceover artist, you need a model, you need a light engineer, you need a sound engineer, you need a production crew, you need a supervising engineer, and you need security. You need somebody to in charge of welfare. So it takes a whole village. Now, instead of you to now invest that money in Nigeria for communication meant for Nigeria, we are making profit from Nigeria. You take these things to another country. You do this thing in that country. You invest in that country. Then you now come back to Nigeria and start playing plug and play. So those are some of the ills that are causing the industry to bleed.
So what have changed under you? What have changed under you?
A lot. A lot, because, and that is why you see the Advertisers Association of Nigeria and some of the advertisers coming up to say, no, we did not align with this. Because we said, number one, you have to use Nigerians to appeal to Nigerians. You use Nigerians as part of your primary communication element. We're looking inward and say we need to position the advertising industry in its right place among the committees of industry you can find around. So some of the things we have done is, one, we have done the local content policy. You have to use Nigerian for your communication that is directed at Nigerians now. You have to do your production of your commercials in Nigeria. Number three, the business practices that are exploitative in nature, we have suspended them. We have like one, the regulation of media rates. We also have the threshold, payment threshold. The regulation of media rates simply means that nobody, sector or group should regulate media rates. And this is based on principle of equity and fairness. Now, in our industry, there are three sectors. We have the advertisers, we have the agency, and we have the media. Now, the media have advertisement rate, and this is critical to the success of any media. Now, each of them have their products. Now, for advertisers, whenever they are increasing their products, like you see, wake up now, they say airline ticket has gone up by 50%. Nobody control them. Nobody asks you to say, no, don't fix. Nobody regulate their price. Likewise, the agency. So why will the combination of the agency and the media, why the agency and the advertiser regulate the media rate or advertisement rate? Now, the same media houses, they play in national, international market, the global market that these other two people play. So, and again, we have foreign medias that do their business in Nigeria, like BBC, like CNN. Nobody sit down and control their rates. So because of that, we said nobody should regulate media rates in Nigeria again. Okay,
let me just you're talking about foreign agencies taking over the advertisement space, but in the regulatory, when you deregulate, it means you're open the business world. We have multinationals coming in. Most of the local content you want to promote, you want to give space there to explore, may not have the resources to compete with the multinationals who come with huge funds. So they could afford to pay for anything. And once they pay anything, they set the bar, and the local content may not be able to do it. Don't you think this will affect
I beg to disagree with you. Let's go down a little bit down memory lane. In 1972, the federal government promulgated the indigenization decree. And in 1973, the framework for the indigenization decree was released. The first profession that was said, leave this to Nigerians, is advertising. I don't know if it is because of alphabetical order or relevance, but it's advertising. That's number one. Number two, when we are talking about foreign direct investment, that is sector that are capital intensive. Now, if you look at the advertising industry, our licensees are 5, but let's say 4. Now, our licensees includes the experiential below the line, full and creative agency, media independence, and the out of home. Now, out of all this sector, the only one that is a bit capital intensive is the out of home. So you don't need a foreign direct investment to set up an advertising agency. That is another part. Now, globally, check it out. There is no global network that what its source. There is no global network that is high-end there that does not have an office in Nigeria. Is it Ogifi? Is it Publicis? Is it DDB? So all these people are available and they are here in Nigeria. Now, communication must resonate with the people. It's a function of the value. It's a function of the religion. It's a function of the cultural background. So you don't develop a communication outside that market and throw it into that market. Now, because, let me give you an example. The advert, if you remember vividly, my friend Udeme is a great man. Was a global campaign. But in terms of execution, it was done market by market. When you get to Ghana, you see my friend Kwame. If you get to, so it was domesticated to fit into the market. So you need to understand globalization. You need to understand glocalization. You need to now put the two together and ask yourself, where are we? Now, globalization is not an excuse for you to take away the benefits and the advantage that an economy should have taken from a particular. So, but it is easier if you fold your arms. Don't forget that in most cases, the multinationals will always want to take everything away from you. So that is that on that. So as I was saying, in addition to that, so we also have to look at the threshold, the payment threshold. Globally, there's payment thresholds. If you check this out country by country, continent by continent, it differs. However, in Nigeria, we have adopted the easiest and the most acceptable in Africa market. In Africa market is 45 days. In Europe is 30 days. In America and some other Asian countries is between 30 and 35. So we adopted the 45 days, saying that between 45 days, media owners must be paid their services so that at least we can put a closure to contracts. Again, one of the reasons why the industry was bleeding was because there's no engagement regulatory framework. For example, if you want to, you can be my client, my agency. I fire you, I move to another one, I fire the person, and you are owing media houses. He is owing media houses. So we have to put a closure to that by saying that there's now a disengagement protocol. Now, however, if you are disengaging your agency, you must sit down with them, do reconciliation, and put a page, as in pay them off. Instead of owing them, no. Then no agency will take that account until the one that was there before has been ethically cleared. So we have a situation that people need to respect that. So people now know that I can't go and pick your account unethically. So with these few things, the industry is coming back to life. And we can see that by the time we put all these things together and we are able to just build on them, we will have a stronger and better industry.
Just a few last minutes. We don't have much time. Maybe just 30 seconds to tell us what is there now for the local content.
Yes, there's a future for the local content. Advertising thrives on content, on talent. Advertising thrives on talent. What we are saying is that aside bringing the foreign talent, we need to now have our own local talent. So we start building capacity.
What?
And capability. The voiceover artists, the modeling, the production people, so many people within that value chain. So we need to have been having meetings with them. We've been meeting them, we've been discussing with them. So we are looking at an industry that is stronger, better, and can contribute to the growth of the Nigerian economy. Thank you.
That's right. Thank you very much. Director General Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, ARCON, Dr. Olalekan Fadolapo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having time on the spot.
Thank you.
And thank you to out there viewer for always keeping tabs with us. See you next time. I'm Joseph Otem. Goodbye.